Hey guys, so welcome to my channel, I guess. My name is Mackenzie, and a lot of people have been telling me that they're interested in me making a video of all of my different visits to the It Chapter 2 set, the movie set. So I have decided that I'm going to make a video to kind of collect all of my experiences and pictures and videos and everything all in one place so I can go back and look at them if I want to, or my friends, or if anybody else is interested in what was going on when they were filming the movie. So I just wanted to say a couple things before I begin. Number one, I'm not trying to brag. I'm super grateful for all of the experiences I got to have. I know that I'm super lucky to have lived near where they were filming. I just want to put in another disclaimer here before I get into all of my trips to the set and say that obviously there are going to be spoilers in this. They are minor, but I'm talking about some scenes that are in the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet and you care about all the details, then come back and watch this after you've seen It Chapter 2. On the topic of where they were filming the movie, I live in a town in the Greater Toronto area in Ontario, so I lived not that far from where all of their different movie sets were. They filmed some of it in Toronto, which is where I live now, some of it in Oshawa, which is a small town, and some of it in Port Hope that was all near me. So for Toronto, I did not come down here at all when they were filming. I didn't go to any locations on film days or when they had anything set up, so I didn't experience any of that from the first or the second movie. For Oshawa, that is where they built the It house where Pennywise lives. I did visit the house when it was being built, for both movies. For the first one, it was in 2016. I went to go visit it multiple times, but I will insert a picture here of me visiting it when I was 15, I think. That's why I look kind of emo and whatever. But the roof had been off of the building at this time that the picture was taken, so I got my picture taken next to the roof while it was on the ground still. So I saw it a couple times because we thought it was the coolest thing. And then for the second movie, I actually didn't visit it a lot. They did not have it up for nearly this, anywhere near the same amount of time as they did for the first movie. I only drove by it once when I saw stuff happening, and it was here. You can see in the video, they were building the house and getting everything ready to film their scenes. I think that they only had it up for not much more than a week. I wouldn't know, but I went back to visit it when I thought that it would have been done building, and you can go see it and walk up to it again, but when we got there, it was completely gone. So I just got to see it being built for the second one, and it was just us driving by, so I didn't actually get to get out of my car and see it last year. Now, finally, Port Hope is where I went to, where a lot of the stuff was happening. This is the town that they used for Derry, primarily. It had all the stores, the library. It had a bunch of stuff that was all Derry. Everything in this little town was Derry. My house back at home is about a half an hour drive from Port Hope. We just jump on the highway and we're there before we know it. It's more east of where I live. From where I am now, it's probably about an hour drive, but it's super close, and it's actually on the way to or from my grandparents' house. So I'll get started with the different days that I visited because I wrote them all down with everything that happened on that day. So the first day that I went to Port Hope for It Chapter 2 was on August 27th, and it was when I was coming back from a visit from my grandparents' house. We just stopped in the town for a little bit to see kind of what things were set up for the movie because it was just at the beginning. So we drove through and we got out of the car for maybe half an hour, not more than an hour, and just walked around. We saw some stuff like the stage set up, and they had their sculpture of that dude set up, and a couple stores were there. Not a lot happened. It just was an average day, honestly. Like, nothing was going on. Then we decided that we were going to go back a couple days later on August 31st, and this was the first exciting day. So we get there, and it is a bit later in the day because I believe I was working. Yeah, I was working. So we had found out before this day that it was a film day because a lot of people are really into visiting the set, or they were really into visiting the set, and they had connections and they talked to different security guards and stuff, and they are super nice and actually tell you when they're filming because people are allowed to watch. You just have to be in a section that is out of the way, and you're not allowed to take pictures or videos. Yes, I still took pictures and videos, but I did not really post them like this until now that the movie's out, because they only ask that because of like spoilers or just other reasons before the movie gets out, I guess. But when we got there, it was the same day they had Pennywise dressed up, where he had the huge bouquet, I guess, of red balloons when he was on the shoulder of the statue they had in the park. If you guys have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But it's one of the days they were filming with Pennywise. But once we got there, he had already been done his scenes and he wasn't in his makeup or anything, so we didn't see any of that happening. But the park was full of extras, and the stage had some extras on it, and the whole park was full. Like, there was stuff going on. So we stood in a group by the sidewalk because we were allowed to watch, and we quickly found out that it was a scene with older Richie. So what's his name? Bill Hader. Bill Hader plays old Richie. So we got to see him. Didn't get to meet him, but I will insert a picture here. When he was done filming, he understandably wanted to leave. It was a long day. It was late in the evening. He probably just wanted to go back to his trailer, the hotel they were staying in. So we didn't chase him or anything. Trust me, like, I was super respectful with the actors and the crew members, and I understood that they're here to work and they don't owe us anything. Like, they're here to work to make a movie for us to see a year from at this time. So it's fine that he didn't meet anybody. I was completely okay with that. So then after that, the director was leaving the set, and he actually did stop to say hi to people, so we went over. And his name is Andy Muschietti, if you guys don't know. So I got a picture with him. I will insert. He was really nice. I don't remember really having much of a conversation with him, but he was really, really sweet. I remember there was one lady there who had her daughter on the phone, and it was so nice because her daughter was a film student and she was so excited to be able to talk to him on the phone. So he was really sweet and took time with everybody, and that was super cool. So then after that, and once they were done with their film day, we left, and then I didn't go back to the set until September 16th, and that is actually the day that I drove by the location in Oshawa where they had the house where they were building it. So on September 16th, they were still building it, and then all of their filming, I guess, was like late September, and then it was gone when we went back like the next week to look. So yeah, they only had it up for a couple days, which kind of sucked, but again, I'm super grateful that I got to see them making it and I got to see it for the first movie because that is really cool. So on the 16th, it wasn't a film day, but we still visited the set. I'll insert some pictures here that I took on that day, but it was just like another normal day in Port Hope. So then the following 2 days, the 17th and the 18th, made it 3 consecutive days where we went to Port Hope. On the 17th, it was actually 2 different times that we went to the set and back. So I visited 4 times within the span of 3 days, and the next 2 days were exciting. They were film days and they were big. So September 17th was probably one of the coolest days I've ever had in my life. We didn't get to meet anybody, but trust me, if you are an IT fan, you're gonna want to hear about my day because it was so cool. So we knew they were filming this day, but we didn't know what they were filming, if it was a day shoot, night shoot, anything like that. So I was very, very, very into going to the set and trying to see as many scenes that they're shooting and looking at all of like the cool tech they're using and getting to see like what's going on because I just thought that it was the coolest thing ever. So my mom, who was great, said that I could take the day off school and take her car so my friend from school and I could spend the day in Port Hope. So I drove my friend and I on our own down to Port Hope, and we found out that it was a night shoot, so we kind of skipped school for no reason, but it was still fun. We got to walk around and find this like new cafe place. It wasn't set up though, so it wasn't that interesting. But we talked to a lady who was security for the carnival set, and she said that they were filming that night, but she wasn't really allowed to give out much information, which is understandable. But I believe that this day was the first day we saw the carnival set up. Actually, no, it would have been the 16th because that was just the day before. So we decided that we were going to leave maybe around noon and go home for a bit, and that we were going to come back later that night with my mom and sister as well because they were filming something and they said it was going to be good, so we didn't want to miss it. So we show up, I know it was before sunset, we show back up and a lot of stuff was happening down in the creek and they were setting up a bunch of equipment. I'll again put pictures up, and we found out that Bill Skarsgård himself in his Pennywise outfit was getting his makeup done in a building. This building, here's a picture of the building that he was getting his makeup done in. It wasn't from that night, but he was getting his makeup done in this building, which, if you recognize it, is also the outside of Beverly's apartment house building from the movie. So he's getting his makeup done in there when we showed up, and obviously it takes a long time for him to get into costume. So we were kind of hanging around for a couple hours before anything started, but then when it got dark out, it's when stuff started to happen. I will insert a video here. We saw him leave the building and get into this car to drive down to the creek because obviously he couldn't walk because there were like a bunch of people there, and he's like this huge clown. He can't just be walking around. Like, we only saw, like up close, we only saw the top of his head. I got to see like his orange hair, but it was when he was bending down to get into the car. But he got taken down there, and a bunch of us were kind of just lined up along the creek at the top to look down to see what they were filming. I remember there were like people who had traveled from Toronto and like even farther places, and I know that people from like New York who were really big fans had come up to see them shoot stuff like this. So it was pretty cool to meet some people like that. But he gets out of the car down there, and like it's Pennywise, and he's in his whole outfit, and I will put pictures in my video up here. But oh my gosh, it was seriously one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I can't remember how long he was out filming that scene. But here's some pictures also that are not mine, but they were from that night, so it's what he looked like while they were filming. And we obviously could see better, like a lot better than what my camera shows, so we were able to tell that it's him, and we saw like the ruffles in his outfit and like his hair and his really white face, so that was really cool. Now I've kind of put two and two together and realized that it's from the beginning of the movie. So it wasn't a overly long scene, it was really just like them taking a number of cuts to be able to edit it the way that they want them to edit it, because during this scene there's like two parts to it, I guess, a part like on a bridge and then the part in the creek, and they were just filming the part in the creek, but like Pennywise, or like Bill, he would film all of his scenes on like at different times than the rest of the actors, if they were able to do that. So like going back to the day where we went to the park after I worked that one day and we saw Richie and stuff, Pennywise had been in his costume, and he had been, I'm just going to keep calling him Pennywise because whatever, but he had been in his costume filming earlier. But then when they were filming with Bill for like Richie's part of the scenes, he wasn't there anymore. So it was just like an audio of his voice so he could pretend that he was acting with Pennywise, but he wasn't there. So a lot of the scenes with him was like just him, unless like it was obviously needed for another person to be in the scene. Okay, so September 18th was the third day in a row that we went to visit the set, and again it was night shoot, so it was pretty dark out. I'll count how many times I say insert pictures here, but I'm going to insert pictures here again. They were filming at the carnival or the fair this night and on the bridge. So this was again some shots for the beginning of the movie when the two boys at the carnival are being bullied and they go over to the bridge and get beat up. They were filming scenes for that. So first thing that was pretty cool was they had this like truck that went along the road to spray a bunch of water on the streets, so it looked like it had been raining. So it was pretty cool to see something like that like behind the scenes, because like you always wonder how they make it look like it's raining in movies when it's not actually raining. So they like put water everywhere. Like if you were standing within 20 feet of this thing, you'd probably feel mist. Like there was a lot of water in this truck being put all over the roads. So they had a bunch of extras all set up in the carnival, and some of them were being instructed what to do. Some of them were just like being told to act like you're at a carnival. My sister and her friend, some extras, gave them a bag of popcorn, so they got like a bag of popcorn from the set. And then a crew member came up to me and he gave me a stuffed animal prize that was one of the prizes from the games in the carnival, and that is probably one of like the coolest things I own with the story behind it. I keep it in my room at home, so I'll insert a picture of it because I don't have it with me, but that is one of the prizes from one of the games in the set, and I am so lucky to have it. I think it's so awesome, and like that crew member was really, really sweet. Like I'm really thankful that he gave me that stuffed animal. And then after spending a little bit of time near the carnival, we all got told that we needed to get like really far away because obviously there were some wide shots and they were making it seem like a big carnival set, so we needed to make sure that we weren't going to get into any of the shots. So we went to the other side of the creek and we were back a bit from the bridge, kind of in like this corner over here where we could watch the bridge up the creek, and we were across the creek from the carnival. So again, this is when they were filming the scene on the bridge as well. So we saw some stuff set up and the actors kind of doing their thing over there, which was pretty cool. They didn't meet anybody, which was kind of disappointing, but again, they're not inclined to, like, whatever, but it was really cool to see them work and see how that stuff kind of worked out. So because we were there that day, I kind of like made some guesses based on like what knowledge I had about it and like what I had heard people talking about. I kind of like guessed that the beginning of the movie was going to start out how it did, and it was really cool because I got to see it happening before we got to see it like a year later on the screen. So watching the movie, I was like, I knew this was gonna happen, and I like saw this happening. So that was really cool. Oh yeah, they did do filming down at the creek as well that night, just not the stuff that included Pennywise with it, but it was like that actor's part or those actors' parts. So that was on the 21st, and I did not go back until the 25th, not like it was that many days later, it was just 4 days, but I went back later that week, and this was another big day. It was a very big day. So we went during the day, and they were doing like some filming in the arcade. We didn't know who was in there. We just kind of hung out like across the street and saw that something was going on inside the building. So like that was pretty cool. Since nothing was really happening, we decided to go for a walk. We walked over to the carnival and they had all the security gone, so we were able to walk around the set and kind of go up to things and take pictures, which was really awesome. And around this time, it was probably like noon. It was lunchtime. So we knew that the kids were there because they were filming scenes, like flashback scenes, and we could tell because at the arcade they would have like the old movie titles set up and it would still be open. So we knew the kids were around. We just didn't know what kids or where they were or what times they were going to be there. So we went for a little walk and we noticed that a lot of the actors were being taken around in like these work vans. So we walked over on the other side of the creek because we had seen a couple of them go that way, and we were just walking and we walked by this fish and chips place and we were like, they're probably eating lunch, but like where would they be eating lunch? So I look over at the fish and chips place and I see some hair and I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, all of the kids are in there because I saw Wyatt's hair and I'm like, those are the kids. So we like go a bit closer to the fish and chips place. It was open, like anybody could walk in. And we see like red hair and we see all the kids sitting at a table with other crew members, and the bullies were there as well. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but the bullies were there as well. So my friends were like, let's go in. And I was freaking out. I was like, I don't want to bother them. They're on like their lunch break. Like, guys, I can't do this. Like, I can't walk up to a table with them and start talking to them. My friends were insistent on going in. So we went inside and we saw them all, but like instantly we ran to the back of the restaurant and went into the washroom. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. I need to leave, and we can sit outside, and if they want to come talk to us after they eat, they can, but if not, like, we just gotta leave them alone. So we left the washroom and we like sped walk to the door again, and me and my one friend left the building. And then I looked behind me and my friend Morgan isn't with us anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is she doing in there still? And one of the crew members stopped her and he was like, "What are you doing in here?" And she was like, "Oh, just like nothing." And he was like, "Do you want to meet the kids?" And she was like, "Yeah." So they sent the three of us over to the table the kids were sitting at, and like I felt so bad about it because they were just like on their lunch break and I didn't want to be like those fans that were bothering them. And I felt bad because Jack was like, "Guys, I'm trying to play Fortnite." But they were super sweet and they gave us some signatures. I asked if we could get a group photo because they were in costume, but like they weren't in any special costumes. Like they were just in their average clothes, and they take pictures with fans all the time in their average clothes. But Finn, who was standing next to me, was like, "No, we can't wear in costume." And I'm not gonna get into that much because he's just a kid. But he was like not having it. So that was fine. Like it was really sweet that all the rest of the kids gave us signatures, and it was like such a cool moment to see all of them in person. So that happened, and around that time they were all leaving as well. So we kind of left after all the kids were filing out, after they signed stuff for us. And when we were leaving, like Chosen was there. Like he was the last of the kids to go, and he like held the door open for us, and it was really sweet. So that was really cool that we got to meet all the kids. After that, we went back home, and that was like such a good like end to all of it. But it wasn't the end. There was still one more day, and that was September 28th. So September 28th was the last day of filming in Port Hope. It was absolute final day for everyone. Like after that, they were packing everything up and leaving. Like Port Hope was not Derry anymore. It was not America. It was just going to turn back into some small unknown town in Canada. So we went there during the day, and they were doing a lot of filming in this building that was kind of like by where all their trailers were. It used to be like a Canadian Tire, but they were doing a lot of filming inside of that building. And we knew the kids were in there because some of them, we had seen some of the kids go into their trailers while we were there. Like we saw Jaden and Wyatt, and they like waved over at us and stuff. But again, like I didn't want to yell at them to come over and say hi to us. Like I had already met them. Like I was more than happy if they came over and took pictures with us. Then that would just be like another bonus on top of a bonus. At this one point, Jack, who's like he's so sweet. He's such a like sweet kid. He noticed that like a group of fans were standing by the building, and he came up to us, and I can't remember exactly what he said to us, so I can't find exactly what he said, but he came over to the group of us standing there and basically said that he was going to be back to take pictures and meet all of us after he was done filming, and he was super sweet about it. So later that night when they were done filming, it was like dark out at this point. Jack came back over in like his regular clothes. He was in his costume like earlier, and he took pictures with all of us, and he was really nice, and his mom was there. And then none of the other kids came over, but again, like I'll say it a million times, like they don't owe us anything. They just finished like wrapping this huge movie. They want to go home and like rest and sleep and stuff. Like it's late. Just it was fine. Jack was super sweet and came over and like spent time to meet everybody, which he didn't even have to do, but he was really nice about it. And then after that he left, and all the kids left, and all the crew and all the actors, and that was it for Port Hope, and a final wrap on It Chapter 2. So that's pretty much it for my overview of everything that I experienced when I was visiting the sets for the It movies. If you have any other questions, you can comment below and I will reply to any questions anybody has. If you want me to go into detail about any of my experiences, like meeting the kids in detail, because I have a whole bunch of Snapchat like videos of me talking when it happened, and then like I have like more details about the night where we saw Pennywise and like stuff like that. If any of you are interested in any of that, let me know, and I'll either make another video if you guys like this one, or I'll make like a comment post about it. So yeah, I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you later.